Hi, thank you for joining me for this first of two tutorials about sun salutations, and in particular Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation C. These two sun salutations share most of the same poses, with the exception that Sun Salutation C has one extra pose, which is the lunge. So in this first of two videos, we're going to break down all the poses that make up these two sun salutations. In the second video, we'll look at the transitions between the poses. And one of the great things about sun salutations is that once we have learnt them, we have the basis of a mini practice in itself that you can do any time. And you can do as many rounds of them as you like. So you'll never be stuck for something to do. If you don't have a class to go to or a video to watch, as long as you know your sun salutations, you'll always be able to find some yoga to do. Okay, so before we get into the component poses of these sun salutations, let's just take a minute to sit in a comfortable seat. So I'm in Sukhasana, easy seat, but you could be kneeling or legs crossed higher up the shins, or Dandasana, legs away. Just to take a couple of moments to settle, to prepare for practice. So close your eyes if that feels okay. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. And then continue to take some deep breaths. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for taking the time to either learn or reacquaint yourself with sun salutations. Surya Namaskara. Okay, now blink, open your eyes. Take a big breath in and reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bring your hands into your heart center. Inhale to reach up, gaze up. Exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, reach up, look up. And this time, drop your right hand to the mat and reach over with your left hand over to the right side. A gentle side stretch. You might want to look up to your hand, your left hand. If that doesn't feel good, look down to the right. Take a big breath and sweep over to the left side, right arm into the air. And exhale, side body stretch. Flexion, lateral flexion in fact. Inhale, this time bring both your hands up and above your head and exhale them into your heart center. Let's take a twist. Left hand to right knee. Bring your right hand gently behind. Inhale and send the seat bones down, the crown of the head up. Exhale, gently turning to the right. Maybe start to bring the gaze over the shoulder. And then come back through the center. Other side, inhale. And exhale, gently twisting. Maybe the gaze comes over the shoulder. And then inhale, come back into the center. Okay, let's come over to all fours. Not that all fours is part of sun salutations, but we're just going to continue with the work of mobilizing the spine with some cow and cat spinal extensions and flexions. So find your position in all fours, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, gazing down, belly engaged, so draw the navel up. And then inhale, send your chest forward. Your tailbone up, your tummy down, gaze ahead. As you exhale, bring the tailbone under, chin towards the chest, and round through the whole spine. Inhale, come forward into your cow stretch. And exhale, tailbone under, chin to chest, round, cat. Inhale, come forward. And exhale to round. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, one more of each. Cow, round, cat stretch. And inhale, come back to tabletop. Okay, so we're going to practice the poses. We're going to learn the poses, not in the same order that we do them in sun salutations. So we're going to begin lying down on our front in Cobra pose. So Cobra is, it's a variation. It's the variation I'm going to teach you today, which is the back bend in the sun salutation A and classical. So I want you to lie down on your front with your feet about hip width apart, and then I want you to bring your hands under your shoulders, and then draw your elbows in, push down through the tops of your feet, and take a breath in and send your chest up. So keep your elbows in, push down through the hips and the feet, chest forward, gaze forward. Keep breathing, make sure you breathe. And then exhale, release down. Bring your hands in front of you. So in your sun salutation, you won't hold that pose for that long. You just hold it for one breath. Should we do it again? Hands under the shoulders, elbows in, feet about hip width apart. Push into the floor. Send your shoulders back and your chest forward. Cobra. So the feet are down, the hips are down, gaze is forward. We're using the muscles of around the spine to keep the chest up. One more inhale. Exhale, come down. Make a pillow. Maybe rock out from side to side. Okay, so that is our back bend. And that's in sun salutation A and sun salutation C. Let's come back up to tabletop and practice the lunge. So let's take the right foot between the hands. Right knee over right ankle. The left knee is down. And then you can either bring your hands to your heart center, or you could reach your arms over your head. So one of those two options. Heart center or arms above. And then your gaze is either forward, or sometimes your teacher might invite you to take your gaze up. And you could also bring your palms together. But if you're starting out, probably just keep your gaze forward. Let's inhale. And exhale, bring hands down. Come back to tabletop. Let's do the other side. So left foot forward, left knee over left ankle, right hip over right knee. And inhale, hands to prayer or arms overhead. And remember, you can keep your gaze forward if you're beginning. If you've been practicing a little longer or you want to challenge yourself, you could look up and maybe you could bring your palms together. And then look forward. Take one more breath in. And then as you breathe out, hands down. And let's step it back. Okay, there we go, lunge. Next up, we're going to practice the plank. So the plank is in all of the sun salutations, and it's a wonderful pose for strengthening the whole body. We should all do more planks, in my opinion, me included. Key things about the plank to remember are that it is a full body pose. So you want everything engaged all the way from your heels right to the crown of the head. And also to keep your belly engaged, to keep your legs strong, and not to drop into your shoulders. And if you have any shoulder concerns in the body, I would say to perhaps keep your knees down on the mat. Okay, so let's come to our plank. So the alignment of plank is shoulders over the wrists. So just make sure that your middle finger faces forward, your shoulders are over your wrists, and then step one leg back, up on your toes, engaging the belly, engaging the legs, and then the left leg back as well. So we want to stay in one long line. If it feels too much, then the knees come down and that's absolutely fine. And you look down towards the mat, squeeze into the thighs. Things to watch out for: don't drop down through your shoulders, keep pushing the floor away, and don't drop down through the hips. So keep the belly engaged, the thighs strong. We're nearly there. And let's drop the knees down and walk the hands back, and maybe just take some circles through the wrists. So all of those poses that we've done so far, the Cobra, the lunge, the plank, we've held them for 5 breaths each. And in a sun salutation, unless your teacher is doing something a bit creative, you won't hold them for 5 breaths. You'll just hold them for 1. So there's good things about that, which is that it helps you to build heat in your body. But the downside of holding a pose only for 1 breath is sometimes we can flow through it with not quite as much control as we should. So it's often nice to practice a sun salutation and just take your time a little. Okay, but that's probably something you would do at home rather than in a class. Okay, so we're on our feet. Sun salutations begin and start on the feet, and these two, A and C, start in mountain pose, Tadasana, so the foundational pose of all standing poses in yoga. So in mountain, you can either have your feet together or hip width apart. So I encourage you to find what feels good and steady and stable in your body. Wherever you are, I want you to spread out your toes. Oh, by the way, the other thing, if you're going to have your feet together, I would say have your big toes together and then maybe your heels apart. So try and line up the outsides of your feet with the sides of your mat. So if I bring my heels together and my toes together, I've got kind of duck feet and they are an angle to the side of the mat. So I always stand with my heels slightly apart and my toes touching. But you find what feels steady for you. The key thing is to have the joints stacked, really. So the hips over the knees, over the ankles. Spread out the toes, engage into the legs, belly draws in, shoulders release down, and arms at the side of the body. And as you root down through your feet, send the crown of the head up so that you create length through the spine. And always in mountain, we don't want to be standing as if we're in a military parade. There has to be the balance between effort and the ease. So we're always looking for that spot in yoga between effort and ease. Stira Sukha. Okay, so mountain. Second pose, extended mountain. So I want you to turn your palms just ever so slightly out, and we'll inhale and take the arms overhead. You can also look up. You can also bring your palms together. To exhale, to release from this pose, you exhale and bring your hands down. So this is how you begin and end classical sun salutation. So you begin on your first breath, Ekam, inhale, extended. And your final breath of the sun salutation is releasing your arms down to your side. So let's do this again. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, releasing. Inhale, and exhale, release. Inhale, and exhale. Over time, you can start to add in some creativity if you wish for it by taking your arms wide, perhaps gently extend upwards in a sort of, what would you call this? I don't know. Dramatic style. Hands down. Reaching up and exhaling. Okay, so that's mountain, extended mountain, or upward salute, it's sometimes called. Next up, the next pair of poses also work together, the half lift and the forward fold. So when you start your sun salutation, you'll go into the forward fold and then the half lift. And as you finish the sun salutation, you'll come to your half lift and then to the fold. So the forward fold is a movement that happens at the hips. So it's the same principle as all forward folds in yoga. We hinge forward here at the hip crease. So not here at the waist, right down here. Okay, so remember your feet are either together or apart. You hinge forward from the hips. And as you come down, you can bend your knees if you need to. If that feels more comfortable for your hamstrings and your back, then you bend your hands. Bend your knees, I beg your pardon. And then your hands come to the floor. You let go of your head, you take your gaze back, and you let your shoulders drop down. If you want to work with straight legs, you can do. Forward fold. And on your last forward fold, sometimes your teacher might encourage you to take a ragdoll, and that's taking opposite hand to opposite elbow. Okay. All right, the next pose is half lift. In half lift, we want to flatten the back to look forward and to straighten the legs if we can. And there's two places that you can have your hands. So let's hinge forward back from the hips, back to our fold. So the hands are on the floor or they're on the shins. And then we inhale to straighten the back and gaze forward. So here, have a play around with this. You could come onto your fingertips and look forward, or you could bring your hands onto your shins. And then back to your fold. Okay, so from the fold, on the way down, you come into the fold, and then hands shoulder width. Inhale, lift, lengthen, look forward, or hands to the shins, and look forward there. Okay, and then in the reverse, so as you finish the sun salutation, you'll come to your half lift first, looking forward, and then exhale to fold. Let's do a few of these. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding. Inhale and exhale. Okay, come on down onto your knees. There's one final pose that we need to practice, and it's the pose where you may certainly in Sun Salutation A, you'll hold for 5 breaths. Not always in Sun Salutation C, classical. That depends on how your teacher is teaching. So, downward facing dog, hands shoulder width, feet about hip width apart, spread out your fingers, and the key movement is pushing. So, pushing the mat away. Lift up high in your seat bones, bend your knees if you need to. If that feels more comfortable for your legs and your back, then please do that. Otherwise, you can work into straightening the legs. Keep the belly drawing in and the chest drawing towards the thighs. Your gaze is back. You're pushing the floor away. Your arms are long. You're stretching through the side of the body. And you're looking for that inverted letter V shape. Downward facing dog. And if for whatever reason you don't want to do downward facing dog, my suggestion would be, for an alternative, to do tabletop. Okay? And down dog. And usually you'll get 5 breaths in downward facing dog. Okay. Drop your knees down. So those are the constituent poses of Sun Salutation A and Sun Salutation C. In the next video, I'm going to show you all the transitions that link those poses together. And the transitions are really important in downward facing dog. They're really important in yoga full stop because it's where we move with the breath, and it's also where we can get injured most easily if we don't take care with the transitions. So thank you for watching this short video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.